What's good, YouTube? Masex back with another video, and today we're going to be taking a look into the future. If you're a football fan like me, it's a year-round type of thing. There really is no off-season. Even when the technical off-season's going on, I'm still looking ahead and seeing what's good and what's new. And what we have new is Pro Football Focus's way too early top 10 big board. Now, a lot of these names, if you're a real deep football fan, you know a decent amount. And if you don't, well, you clicked on the correct video. Also, if you're new to this channel, definitely like and subscribe. You clicked on this video most likely because you're a football fan. Go ahead and join the family as we're on the road to 1K. Now, as I mentioned, this is the top 10 big board, Pro Football Focus's way too early top 10. And it's very fun, honestly, to look at these type of big boards and just compare it to November, December, and just look at all the differences. So enough with all that. Let's go ahead and get into the video. We got 10 guys who Pro Football Focus is very high on, and we're going to review that now. Without further ado, let's get to it. All right, let's go ahead and get things started at number 10, and we're going to work our way to the number 1 prospect for the draft class. And at number 10, we got Travis Hunter out of Colorado, cornerback and wide receiver. He's one of the few guys, honestly, in modern football history in college that you can just list as an ATH. He plays dang near just as much wide receiver as he does corner. You see the guys, historically, the Charles Woodsons of the world, the Miles Jack, where they play 95 to 90% of the time with their one position. A little bit sparingly, you'd see them on the other side of the ball. Well, Travis Hunter is a little bit different. You'd think it was the 50s or the 60s watching Travis Hunter play. A total of 1,044 snaps. Remember, he only played 9 games, and that 1,044 by far was the highest snaps of all of Power 5 football. And with his talent, elite athleticism, awareness, the skill, the trait, the back pedal, the route running, the question is, at the next level, will he be a primary wide receiver or will he be a primary cornerback? That is a legit question with Travis Hunter. You look at his stats last year, over 800 yards playing wide receiver, and that's not his full-time role. You look on defense, 3 interceptions. Travis Hunter made some highlight plays on both sides of the ball. He's going to be one of the most highly touted prospects, and I see him moving up, honestly, from this 10 spot, and I see him realistically as a top 5 pick. He has his head on straight. I don't really see anything that's going to keep him from being a first-round pick. Moving on to the number 9 ranked player, and that's Tet McMillan out of Arizona. The lanky 6'5" wide receiver from Arizona. Listed around 205 pounds, but just his presence alone is very intriguing. I know the first time I saw him, he just had a different look about him. Scouts' mouths are watering right now with a wide receiver of this size combined with this skill set. And the NFL will always value a 6'5" true X prototype like receiver like Ted is. Unquestionable. You throw it up, he's coming down with it. Last year, only Rome Odunze, a recent NFL top 10 pick in this past year's draft, had more contested catches than Ted. And last year, balled out for Arizona, which is not a school known for pumping NFL caliber talent. This just goes to show if you ball out, you will get noticed. 1,400 yards receiving plus last year. Only Rome Odunze and then also a top 6 pick and Malik Neighbors had more receiving yards. He's going to be somebody that you want to keep your eyes on. At number 8, we got Benjamin Morrison, a cornerback from Notre Dame, 6 foot, listed around 185 pounds. Morrison came onto the scene for the Fighting Irish, made an impact right away as an 18-year-old, tallying 6 interceptions his freshman year, which led the nation just out the gate. And if you look at some of the numbers, his freshman and sophomore years score, he's projected to be a top 10 pick, obviously. I myself, living in Indiana, you're going to have access to Notre Dame every Saturday. So Benjamin Morrison, he's going to stand out, the best player on the team, and it's not even close. And Morrison will definitely be battling for CB1 in next year's class. I can guarantee you that. All right, the 7th best player according to Pro Football Focus is wide receiver Luther Burden out of Missouri. 5'11", 208 pounds. That right away lets you know the type of player he is, if we're going to be honest. He's built like a running back and kind of plays like a running back with hands. He's one of those guys where You want to get the ball in his hands as much as possible because you know eventually something good is going to come out of it. With this guy, Luther Burden III, you're going to hear Debo, Debo, Debo. Any receiver really that can create plays with the ball in his hand, the most lazy comp is going to be Debo Samuel. Though I see with this one, I actually like it. I'm not even going to lie. I know I just kind of criticized the lazy comps, but Luther Burden looks like somebody that could be a future Debo Samuel at the next level. But Luther Burden is different from a lot of the other wide receivers we've seen over the last couple years that have the Debo comp, and that's because he's not just a gadget player. He's not somebody you're throwing 5-6 quick screens to or just reverses or just only in the slot to be able to make plays on drag routes. This guy can legit make plays down the field with the ball in the air. Like, I saw plenty of plays last year, even live watching TV, where Luther Burden's high pointing the ball 20, 30, 35 yards down the field and making plays like an ex-wide receiver. His efficiency metrics are off the chart. 5 yards per route run is just crazy. Even in college, 5 yards per route run is just nuts. Luther Burden is the best in the nation just from an efficiency standpoint. All right, moving on to number 6, we have offensive tackle Kelvin Banks Jr. out of Texas, listed at 6'4", 324 pounds. Just like a lot of these guys on this list, excellent resume and only 2 years of college football. Essentially, as an 18-year-old, he walked into Austin and became the man right away as an 18-year-old. Pro Football Focus loves him as well as all analytical charts. Number 1 in big-time blocks. Had an 86.8 run blocker as well, but Kelvin Banks may be the best pass rusher in this class. Can definitely move his feet and usually wins at the point of attack. Now we're in our top 5, and at number 5 we have an interior defensive lineman, and that's Deon Walker out of Texas, listed as a massive 6'6", 345 pounds. So the size alone is very intriguing, and then the fact that usually in the few times that you'll see a defensive lineman with these measurables, he's essentially a run stopper, run gap type of defensive lineman that's there to plug. He plays a percentage of snaps on defense, and he plays his role. Now Deon Walker is a lot more than that. Deon Walker is realistically somebody who could be the first pick of the NFL draft next year, especially in a class where it's projected to have a weak QB class. That means number 1 picks up for grabs. Deon Walker may be the best player in the nation potentially next year. As I mentioned, he's more than just a run stopper, a big body that's going to occupy the center and guard. This man can rush the passer as well. I mean, last year, Pro Football Focus gave him 51 pressures, and that was best in the nation for interior defensive linemen. And as we've seen in the NFL, particularly 3-gap defensive linemen that can rush the passer are making a lot of money in the league, and they're highly sought after. And Deon Walker is going to be one of those guys that I think will have his name in the conversation as the number 1 pick next year in the 2025 draft. At number 4, Pro Football Focus has cornerback Will Johnson out of Michigan, listed at 6'2", 202 pounds. Will Johnson was a highly sought-after high school recruit, 5-star ranking, posted one of the best PFF grades in the nation right out the gate as an 18-year-old true freshman playing in the Big Ten. He got a 91.9 grade as a true freshman in man coverage. And a 6'2" corner that can play man will never go out of style. And last year only allowed about a 29.1 QBR when targeted. So basically, don't throw to him. It's not the smartest idea to try to pick on Will Johnson, as he's really good at what he does, and I feel that he's still only going to develop one of the best players on a national championship team as a sophomore. And honestly, Will Johnson may be the best cornerback prospect in a few years. I'm thinking Sauce Gardner or Patrick Surtain from 2021. All right, moving on to number 3, we have another Will, and that's offensive tackle Will Campbell out of LSU. Listed at 6'6", 325 pounds. Campbell's the early favorite for OT1. And like most of these guys, excellent resume so far. Starter since he was a true freshman. As a true freshman, actually, he posted an 85.6 pass blocking grade. and only Peter Skoronski, who was a top 10 pick in the 23 draft, posted a better score, and that was as a freshman. Will Campbell was. Last year, as a sophomore, 84.9 run blocking grade, which was 5th in the nation according to PFF. So he has the dual talent where he can pass block elite, run block is elite. So Will Campbell, as I mentioned, the early favorite to be the offensive tackle. He has the size at 6'6", 325, and just once again could very easily be the first pick in the NFL draft next year, especially with the weaker QB class. We are in the top 2, and at number 2, we have an interior defensive lineman from Michigan, and that's Mason Graham. Now, to start off with Graham, I'd say he probably has the best first name, hands down, in all of college football. But just on a serious note, 6'3", 318 pounds is what this interior defensive lineman is listed at. You knew he was going to be special playing on a Michigan defense as an 18-year-old. Very similar to his teammate Will Johnson, just out the gate as an 18-year-old in the Big Ten on a championship level team. Led all freshmen in PFF with a score of 80 last year as a sophomore. And last year as a sophomore, I'm going to go ahead and say he was the best player on the entire team. He has size, length, as I mentioned, the measurable 6'3", close to 220 is what he's listed at. 3 techs the last 7 to 8 years have really taken over in the NFL, causing an increased value. So as I explained with Deion Walker, it's the same thing with Mason Graham. A 3 tech that is elite at wreaking havoc in the backfield is maybe one of the most dangerous things that can happen to an offense. And Mason Graham is more than capable of being that. It may potentially be a double-digit sack a year type of guy at the next level in the NFL. And that's what I fully expect him to be, in contention of a top 5 pick and very realistically maybe the first pick in the draft. And Pro Football Focus #1 prospect is no other than the edge rusher James Pierce Jr. out of Tennessee. Now he's listed at 6'5", 242. In a class last year where we didn't have that elite edge rusher, well, wait no more, because that's James Pierce Jr. Last year, 21.3% pressure rate, 92.4 grade according to Pro Football Focus. Pierce is somebody you need to pay attention to. If you do not know this name already, you're going to hear it a lot. On a lot of sites, actually, Pierce Jr. is the favorite to be the first pick in the 25 draft. This prospect is elite enough where he would have been the #1 edge rusher in this past draft class in 24. When you combine size, length, speed, craftsmanship in a premium position like edge rusher, James Pierce Jr. will be expected to dominate as a true junior. All right, there you have it. Pro Football Focus's top 10 prospects for their way too early big board. And like I said, this is always fun, starting way too early big boards and mock drafts. That's why you play the game, and I'm looking forward to that. If you haven't already, definitely like and subscribe to the video. Helps football fans like yourself find this video. We're on the road to 1K, and I deeply appreciate it at the end of the day. Appreciate the support so far. Be on the lookout for the next video that we got lined up for you guys. I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. See you on the next video.